building faith together, piece by piece, story by story. Welcome to the Faith in Pieces podcast.
Welcome back to the Faith in Pieces podcast, where we build our faith together piece by piece, story by story. Today we're going to be continuing in this Made Well series by talking about our final topic of the sermon series in physical wellness.
So throughout the series, we have been talking about what it means to be made well, and we've looked at our spiritual wellness and our mental wellness. And so the physical wellness is going to be a way that we look about how our physical wellness, how our body being well allows us to connect with and honor God. And it's still another part of that holistic approach to being made well, to being completely well in our relationship with God.
Yeah, and so we're really excited today. We've been having guests on this podcast series, and today we're going to have our first member during this series come on, and Stacey McDaniel, who is a teacher and coach at Cy Ranch High School. But before we introduce her, we do want to say, at the very beginning, we said we were going to decorate this space. You would see it evolve, and the wall is still the same, but we do have some pieces of ourselves at the table today. So my pieces are Outcast and the, of course, Alabama elephant. Whitney, would you like to talk about the pieces you have provided?
Yes, I have Harry Potter and the magnificent hippopotamus.
And then if you're wondering why Ted Lasso and a candle and also Darth Vader on the table, is because Joel, our director of communications and connections / producer, is sitting right behind the camera, and these are pieces of him. But now we will introduce our conversation with Stacey. We hope you enjoy. Well, Stacey, thank you so much for coming on. Before we even get into the topic, I feel like I owe you an apology, so we need to go ahead and get this out of the way. So you're going to be watching this like 2 weeks after this happened, but 2 Sundays ago for you, last Sunday for us, I was talking to Stacey outside and we were talking about football, and Stacey is a Green Bay Packers fan. And I asked, who are the Packers playing? And she said, the Browns. And I said, that should be an easy win. And Stacey said, you just jinxed it. And if you follow sports, you will know that the Browns walked off the Packers on a last-second field goal after they blocked a field goal. So I need to apologize. You were right. Yeah. So I'm sorry about that.
One day I might forgive you.
One day, you know. It was one of those weird Sundays where your team lost, which is a rarity, and my team, the Carolina Panthers, won,
which is also a rarity.
I mean, they've won 7 times in the last 3 years. So weird day. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, Stacey, thank you for coming on and talking to us about physical wellness. So you are a teacher and a coach at Cy Ranch High School. How did you first become passionate about both teaching and coaching?
Didn't ever know what I wanted to do with my life, and I played soccer throughout my whole life, and then I played soccer in college, and they told us we had to pick a major. So like most athletes, I picked kinesiology.
Nice.
And with that you could do a few things, but I went into teaching and coaching in the schools because I remember some of the relationships I had with my coaches, some of the coaches I had I really liked and that I didn't like, and how I wanted to be different than some of them. And so I thought I could give back to the students, just like I was invested in when I was growing up.
Yeah. And so for those watching, what do you teach at Cy Ranch?
Oh, I teach a class called Personal Academic College and Career Exploration.
Nice.
So a little bit about how to be successful in high school, college, and beyond.
Yeah. And then what sports do you coach?
Right now I coach golf and softball, but soccer's my jam.
Cool.
So
cool.
What's your favorite part or thing about coaching?
I really like the relationships actually that I've built with students in general, but like adults as well. I'm very much a relationship oriented person, and in that world you meet a lot of people, and so that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah. So in your experience specifically with coaching, how have you seen physical wellness impact the students that you've worked with?
Yeah, so like when our kids are healthy, they're happy. And when they're happy, they're performing better. And we're getting more out of them. When they're unhealthy or they're not getting sleep or they're just drained or they're injured, we don't really get quality out of them. And then just they're not fun to be around when they're not healthy.
Yeah.
Just put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not fun to be around when
Correct.
I'm operating on minimal sleep, which I am right now.
Absolutely.
My daughter woke up at 5:15 this morning. Not because she was awake, but because her blankets were off.
Right.
And she can't put her blankets back on by herself, apparently. So I got up to handle that. So
it's a hard process.
Yeah.
So In your experience as a coach and just for you in general, what does your body as a temple of the Holy Spirit mean to you personally?
Well, God gifted us with this body to be good stewards with. He didn't say it has to be perfect. We're just doing the best with what we have. Um, so we're not called to be perfect, but we're called to do, like I said, the best. So like thinking about what we're putting into our body, thinking about what we're putting our bodies through, so that we can serve God. Because if we can't move, if we can't be awake, if we're unhappy because we're unhealthy, we're not being good stewards with what God's given us.
Right.
I think too, like you're talking about what you put into your body and what you put out,
Mhm.
right? Like, I think we can always fall in the trap. Like when we think of physical wellness, we think of like, oh, are you going to the gym? Or like, oh, what are
Mhm.
you eating? Right. And that's part of it. But I think the other part of physical wellness that we don't capitalize or talk about enough is like what we're putting our bodies through.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
And so, like, knowing your limitations, listening to your body, giving your body what it needs so that you can go out and be a vessel of God in everyday life. Like, if I'm not operating on enough good sleep, or I'm, burning at both ends of the candle, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to be physically well enough to be there with somebody who may be going through something that they need
Right.
to talk about,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing to talk about. It's not just like what you're doing physically to restore your health, but like how you manage, how you exert
Right.
in your
Mhm.
life too. So I hear this a lot, and I think like I have an opinion on this because there are different ways that I do this. But how can taking care of your physical health like be an act of worship to God?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, like I said, like he gives us with things. He gives us, we talk about tithes and things that we can offer. It's the same thing, right? We're worshiping him when we're taking care of ourselves because we're able to serve him.
Yeah.
If we don't, uh, it's. I'm trying to think of the word. We're showing discipline,
Mm-hmm.
and then the ability to practice that discipline shows that that's meaningful, it's purposeful. That
Mhm.
that we're uh, man, the
It's
word I'm
okay.
looking for, that uh, God, we're showing His reverence because
Mhm.
we're doing our very best to honor Him
Yeah.
with taking care of our bodies. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know. That's kind of
No,
repetitive.
yeah.
No.
And I think I don't want to put you on the spot, but I remember like a couple weeks ago we were talking about there was a morning where you were able to go on a run before you came into work,
Yeah.
and you like tied that. I don't know if you want to talk about that more, but I
Yeah.
remember you tied like running to like your physical and spiritual wellness too.
Yeah, like I was able to do that this morning,
Yeah.
even. I was get up and I was able to run. And when I am able to get up and I'm able to run, and it doesn't matter the length that I run, it's just my opportunity to get up, to run, to
Yeah.
put my body through the rhythm, to take care of myself physically. I know that I am going to be the better pastor that I know I can
Mhm.
be, the better person that I know that I can be because I'm physically taking care
Right.
of myself.
Right.
And I'm able also to focus on what I need. So that way, like what you said earlier, what I put into myself, what I can get out of it, what
Right.
I can give out.
Mhm.
So what I do when I run, it's really it's a mental, to me, it's a mental game when
Mhm.
I run, but it allows me to be the better, just the better version of myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is my, it's my thing.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I use that time, even though it's running and it's chaotic. I just went to me, it is some of the times that I'm most close, that I'm closest to
Mhm.
God, is when I am at my most physically active, when I've exerted my most physical um energy. I've given it all that I can. That is my moment when I'm
Yeah.
closest to God.
Yeah.
I agree with that because I run too, and
Yeah.
and sometimes you're like, I'm gonna be done at this many miles, and
Yeah.
then it's amazing, right? And then you're like, man, you hit like your second win, and you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just like, man, God's just like got me going, type thing, like where did this come from?
Right.
Like I was ready to quit at mile 3, and I'm already at mile 4, and now I'm ready to just keep going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, where do you see us sometimes misunderstanding our physical wellness?
Yeah, skinny is healthy. That's like the biggest,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think, the biggest misunderstanding, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of unhealthy,
Yeah.
skinny
Absolutely.
people. And so like I told you, my degree was in kinesiology, but there's 5 components, health-related components of physical fitness. And so people tend to focus on 1 or 2 and not the 5. And so they look at body composition, that's one of them, and that's it.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, this is what it is. Or they look at cardiovascular endurance, and that's the only thing they focus on. And I think as we get older, and myself included, it's the flexibility component that we just
Mhm.
throw by the wayside. But as our muscles become less elastic and we're older, we can't, it enable or disables us, and we can't do things because we didn't stretch for 15 minutes when we woke up, because we don't think about it. And then all of a sudden we're immobile. And so I think people just think like there's just one thing. If I can build my endurance, I'm healthy. If I eat better, I'm healthy. If I can be stronger, then I'm healthy. And it's really a combination of all 5, not just one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think too, like, I think our culture oftentimes like tries to tell men be bigger, and by bigger, like more muscular,
Yeah.
and then tells women be skinnier,
Smaller.
right? And I think what you just noted of like it's more than that, like it's not that, right? It also makes me think of hopefully nobody from the conference listens to this and gets mad, but like a long time ago, we used to like have a really big health benefit thing where you could like actually earn money for being fit, like within the conference. That was like an initiative, and it was operated off of BMI. And
It's
so if you
still
got,
there.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, anyways, there was one guy that I was close with who's no longer in this conference, but he was in the process of bodybuilding and was like, I'm not going to get to
Not in
the
BMI.
BMI
He's
that
gonna be too
I'm at, 'cause
heavy.
it's based on weight,
Wait,
but like I'm physically fit,
yeah.
but based on this category, I'm not. And so I think it points to like this whole thing of it's not just this one thing,
not
but it's a
weight,
composite of all these different things that come together.
Well, and then when you focus on that one thing like BMI and you're not there, it's just depressing, right? And then what happens?
Right.
Then we just stop. We're
Right.
like, well,
Right.
I'm never going to get to that.
You just give it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, I can't get there.
Yeah. So what's the point?
The stretching, like I am in no way as flexible as I used to be. I'm almost 44.
Yeah.
My limbs don't do the things they did when I was 16.
Yeah.
But I have to remind myself I'm almost 44. So I have to stretch a little bit longer before I go out and run. I have to remind myself, like you said, it's not just one, it's all of it. All of it has to be.
And even if it's not before you exercise, just in general as we get older, we just need to stretch.
Yeah,
like,
we just need to stretch.
Yeah.
There have been times Jace has walked by. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Listen, I want to be able to get out of the chair when I'm older." I said, "Leave me alone."
I think too, like this conversation is kind of leading us to where we were going to go next, and talking about like how can we see physical wellness as an idol if we're not really careful. And I think what we're kind of getting close to is the comparison idol that comes, right? I speak of this because this like literally happened to me last week, but was at the gym and was bench pressing and felt really good about where I was, right? Like walked off, I was listening to my Metallica mix, I was hyped. And the guy that was waiting to come up, like after I had reset the bar, he doubled the amount of weight that I had on there and just absolutely ripped it in front of me. And I was like, well, this stinks, right? Like I don't like, but in that moment I had to step back and be like, this is the standard for me right now.
Yeah.
And like I can be happy with myself, but not like, it doesn't have to be like I feel worse because somebody did better.
Right.
Yeah.
I think in the technology of our Apple Watches and things like that, we're competitive people. You're competitive. I'm competitive. Yeah. And that leads to that kind of comparison, or becomes a thing where like, if I do a challenge with you, I'm literally just exercising, not for God, but because I'm going to beat you.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring this up. I've only done one of those Apple Watch competitions because you can run for like 7 days.
Right.
I did with a friend from seminary. And it was like I won. It was like the worst week.
But that's what you focused on.
Right, exactly. Because
that's
it was
all
like
you do.
I had closed my move ring, like I had done everything that I was trying to do that day. But I looked down and I was like, if I don't get up and walk 3 miles, I'm gonna lose this.
Right.
So like 8:30 p.m. when I'm totally drained, I'm out in the neighborhood walking at night because I want so desperately to win this. When I made my Apple Watch my idol and competition my idol, and that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm pretty competitive, but I used to run like a 9-minute mile. Like that was my steady mile. It was a 9-minute mile. And then I got COVID, and
Yep.
I do not run a 9-minute mile now. I run about 11 and a half to a
Right.
12-minute mile, which is still
It's movement.
still not
That's
bad.
right.
It's still not
Absolutely,
bad.
It's not bad.
So I've always just reminded myself as I'm out running, especially when I'm in the middle of a race, like, you're not really racing against these
Right.
people.
You're not winning.
Yeah, I just keep reminding myself, you're just going for the medal.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
all you're doing. You're racing for the medal and a
Feel
banana.
good. Yeah.
And to feel good. Like,
Yeah.
right? Doing this for
Accomplish
the banana.
it.
Right.
That's right.
So I remind myself that a lot when I'm racing. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
Chris and I just had that conversation like 2 minutes ago. We were talking. I said, I just turned 40 and I've done a lot of half marathons. And I said, man, I'm going to do one while I'm 40, but this is the slowest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I ran one 2 years ago, and I was running my half marathon at a faster pace than I'm running right now. And I'm saying, I'm running 6 miles. I ran a half marathon, 13 miles, way faster than what I'm running now. But you know,
It's
I
the
gotta
40
quit worrying about the
bridge.
time and just
And-
movement. It's movement.
And that's what it is I just stopped worrying about the
Right.
time.
Yeah.
I just stopped worrying about the time, and I could have just a run.
Right.
Like, it
Yeah.
stopped even being a race.
Correct.
It's not about the time, it's about the discipline of doing it.
Right.
Right.
And like, I can say, like, I think they said it's 1% of the population
Mhm.
actually runs half marathons and
Mhm.
marathons.
Yeah.
And
I'm
so
in the 99. So I did it one time.
and I
Yeah.
know that, Jace loves that Tim can track me on the races. They always have an app you can track, and Jace is all like, "Is she winning?"
Yeah.
And
It's not
Tim
about that.
and Tim is like, "She is not."
Yeah.
But he's all, he wants to know about it. He didn't want to do it with me, but how did you do? How did you feel? And all of
Right.
that. So he
Yeah.
enjoys it. What are some simple everyday practices that anyone can take to be more physically well?
Well, so I was actually thinking about this on the way here because we do things like in the not social media, TV and stuff, like Biggest Loser makes it look like everything is so difficult and it's got to be like military or you got to be in CrossFit or things like that. And I always just say pick one thing, right? Focus on not going out to eat for lunch this week. If you're someone that goes and gets lunch every day, like pack your lunches for this week and then do it again next week and see if you can do it, how many weeks you do in a row. Then maybe focus on, okay, let's make sure we're not eating out dinner more than so many times. I mean, depending on your schedule, obviously your goals are going to change, or maybe it's 8,000 steps. Everybody says 10,000 steps, but maybe if you're counting steps and you're only getting to 5,000, so now your goal is 8,000 steps. That's more movement for you.
Yeah.
So something simple, multiple times that week before you try and move on to something else. So then maybe the next week you can add not just 8,000 steps, but making your lunch or things like that. Like I said, it can be even just stretching for 15 minutes during your break, like just setting a reminder to do something simple each day.
Yeah, I think because I was thinking about this too, the area that, and I've talked about this in the sermon before, but like sleep is the thing that I really struggle with. And I don't do this every night. I should, but there have been times where I've set alarms on my phone of when to go to bed, or like not only when to go to bed, but when to start winding down. Right. So like 9:30 alarm goes off. I'm like, all right, cut off screens for 30 minutes, and just like, and slowly implementing things like that in your life where you keep yourself accountable. And you see like, I feel more physically well because I'm doing this, and that can spark you to want to do even more. But I think those stories of taking a small step, those can lead to big differences in how we treat our wellness.
I think I noticed my parents are retired, and talking about sleep, one of the hardest things for them is they get sleep, but like they don't have a set schedule anymore. And when we were growing up, it was you have to be in bed. Like they were really concerned about our well-being. But now that they're on their own, they're not concerned about anybody's well-being. They go to bed at midnight, and I'm like, well, wait a second. We went to bed at by 9 o'clock. Why aren't you practicing that same thing? And so I know my aunt, she's got herself on a schedule because again, retired, and she'd be tired throughout the day. And I'm like, well, that's because you don't go to bed till. So she now she goes to bed and she sets an alarm to be up at 7 a.m. She doesn't have anywhere to go, anything to do, but that keeps her healthier.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, and what I'm about to say, this could be tied to all the different wellnesses we've talked, or like wellness practices that we've talked about. But Sabbath, I think, is really clear here too. Of listening to your body. And like, there is a reason why we were called to the practice of Sabbath, is that God knows that we need like extended periods of rest. And so like finding that day or those couple of hours, even like to start small, like a Sabbath for you at the very beginning can be like a 4-hour period, 1 day per week. Or like, I think I know people who even do like an hour per day to like help add that up. But I do think like listening to our bodies and not overexerting ourselves, like Sabbath is a practice that helps us cap that well.
Yeah.
I think that also keeps us a lot from the idolization that you talked about too, because you take that day to not focus on what the one thing you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, but focus on yourself and God's presence around you, and
Right.
to celebrate and to take joy in that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about a lot of these, but like, what do you think would be like the biggest barrier or the biggest barriers that people face when thinking about physical wellness?
Oh, I think the Houston heat is one.
Amen to
People
that.
don't want to be
Oh my gosh,
outside,
it's
so
so
then you have to be
gross.
inside, which means you have to go to a gym.
Yeah.
And people do not like to go to gyms if they've not. I don't like going to the gym,
Yeah.
and I know how to use a gym, and I don't like going to the gym. And so that's one of them. And it's when it's hot outside, I'm good, but when it's cold outside, you're not going to see me outside either.
No,
So one or the other. But
we have that like 1 week in Houston every year where you can,
Right.
Just that 1
It's
week.
really nice.
We haven't hit it yet, but it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
Usually it's like late October.
October.
Yeah.
So I'll get up at 4:00 in the morning to run. It's still hot and humid and gross, but the sun's not up.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's doable.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's one of the big ones. And then obviously, like you said, I think to me, it's just, I say lack of motivation, just accountability groups. So, if you invite me to church, I'm probably going to come to church. Like if you say, are you going to be at church? I'll probably go. But if it's just me I'm not going to just walk in maybe.
Yeah.
Same with working out. If I'm not going to just go work out on my own if I'm not used to working out, or if I'm just trying to start working out. It's boring sometimes when it's just you. And so some people just are like, I don't know what to do. That's also a big one. And if you look up things online, you can find all kinds of stuff for your own self. But then it's like, it's a lot of work to figure that out, figure out what you can use. You might not have your own weights and things of that nature. But that's a few of the barriers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of barriers.
Yeah, I think one of the other ones too is just like busyness.
Yeah.
Right? Of like, where do I fit this into my schedule? Like, especially, I know with like parents who have kids like in elementary, middle, and high school, right? Like, you are acting as chauffeur for your kids all the time. And so like, when is the time in my schedule? And like for some folks, like getting up at 4 a.m., that's the only option that you have. And for some folks, like when you think about your rest and like how you're sleeping for your physical wellness, like you got to counteract that and figure out like, how do I get the sleep that I need, but also carve out this time for myself? And so busyness is a big one, I think, too. We
have a coach at our school, which, we get a 45-minute conference period, and she's out there walking that track because she's got her goal to do 3 miles a day, and she's out there walking the halls. She's trying to get her miles in because after school, she's not going to have that time if she's going to be able to get that rest and stuff like that. So.
How do you think that faith communities can come together to help and support one another in this journey of physical wellness?
Yeah, I think obviously you can offer, they can do health screenings or things of that nature. But I had this crazy idea. We have small groups. Never are we like, hey, at our small group, let's talk about like, what are your fitness goals? Like that's like a taboo. Like we don't ask those questions.
Right.
But there's where you can have accountability. Like your goal could be, like you said, like to stretch. Like, how did you do stretching this week, Wendy? Like, how did you exercise 15 minutes? And you're going to be asked, then you're maybe more likely to do it. Or maybe we have similar goals. Like, you and me both, we both want to work on, making better choices with what we eat. So what are you making for your meals? And maybe, that sounds really good. Maybe we can share that within our even small groups. Like we don't talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
I think taking the opportunity to celebrate too is really important. Like if you're in partnership with somebody or in like an accountability group, like not always talking about it from like, what did you accomplish this week? But being able to say like, I did something that I never done before.
Right.
And to be able to say like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Good for you. I think encouragement in those accountability groups.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to share with what your goal was so you can continue to correct
in order to get the encouragement
that
we all so desperately need and see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you that when I went to New York to run the New York half, and obviously Tim and Jace did not go, but Tim was tracking me on the app on a Sunday morning. Um, just the support of the church.
Mhm.
Like Tim said, I had probably 100 people come up to me and say, "Where has she started yet? Where is
Right.
she? Can you see if she's okay?" And
Yeah.
he was able to let someone know when I finished, and they were able to tell
Mhm.
Whitney's son she did it, and
Right.
like it was. They all knew I was training, and so they all asked about it. So I mean, it was great to know that they were supportive of something like that. And so I think exactly what you said, like to be able to celebrate, and that was a big thing, but I think celebrating big and small
Right.
together, because that's what we're called to
Right.
do.
Yeah.
So if it's something so much as someone said, "Hey, I walked 5 miles for the very first time," or "I walked 8,000 steps for the very first time," or "I didn't eat out all week for the very first time," like we should celebrate those
Absolutely.
just as much as someone running a half marathon or doing anything else.
Like sure, they're getting 10 minutes on the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
That would be a big celebration.
Yeah.
I did 20 yesterday.
Good
20?
job.
Oh, wow.
Good job.
Thank you. I watched Jeopardy.
Yeah, good
No,
job.
that'll do it.
Yeah,
That'll do
Did
it.
you know a lot of the questions?
Yesterday I did pretty well.
Was it kids Teen Jeopardy?
Yeah,
or?
it's Teen Jeopardy. Yeah. No, I think too, like we've talked about, like I think all types of wellness are taboo in church, which is why we did this study. But I think part of when we think about physical wellness, part of the reason that I think it's taboo is it's so tied to shame.
Yeah.
Right? Of like, I'm ashamed because I'm not taking care of myself physically, or I'm ashamed because I'm starting to, but I'm recognizing like I know nothing. And so all that we can do as a church to tear down shame and building it back up with vulnerable community where we encourage one another. Like that's how these subjects that have always been taboo, where we can peel the taboo layer off of it and recognize like, no, God wants us to talk about this. And God wants us to be supportive of one another and be in community with one another when we talk about these things.
Yeah.
It goes back to your sermon series of grace too, though.
Yeah.
Right? God gives us grace. He's like, okay, this is where you are now.
Yeah.
Let's do the best we can with where we are right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So as we like close this conversation, if somebody's listening to this right now and in a period of their life with physical wellness where they feel discouraged or they don't even know where to start, what are some words of encouragement that you would give to them about physical wellness?
Oh, that exactly what I just said. Like you are where you are. There's nothing you can do about where you are now.
Yeah.
It's moving forward. So find something small. Even your top athletes, they use periodization where they do, microcycles, which are small week to week. They do the same things, and then that's in the mesocycle. And then the mesocycles look the exact same. And so it's step by step, they're building blocks. And so even if you're just doing 8,000 steps for 4 weeks straight, like that's your only thing you're focusing on. After that, then we can move. Do we want to increase the volume? Do we want to add something? Do we want to add muscular strength? Do we want to add a diet to that? But don't start, okay, 1 week I did 8,000 steps. Let me go to 10,000 next week. Because when we fail, that's when we kind of start quitting or we start feeling bad about it. And so it's not going to happen overnight, right? And so that's the hard thing is lean on God, right? For endurance to persevere through the hard times and to make it more than a week or 2 weeks, and then stay away from fat diets.
Yes.
I think what you just said is so good. Of like, take one step, right? Like this can be overwhelming to think about. Even the 5 areas we talked about earlier, right? It can be overwhelming, but to be able to fixate on what is this one thing that I feel called to, that I feel that I can accomplish, and then build off of that and use it as a building.
Yeah, because not all of us can walk that far,
Right?
So maybe we focus on something different, or maybe we just focus on every time I go to the store, I'm going to park farther away.
Yeah.
And I think it's good too to like reevaluate. Like you can set that goal, but you recognize and listen to your body of being like, I'm not ready to accomplish this yet. I can dial that back, right? Like I can, if I said 8,000, I realize like this is very straining for me. Dial it back a little bit and still have a new goal, even if you have to tell it back. That's okay to do.
And even remember the Sabbath on that one too, right? Like if there's a day that you don't get it, that's okay.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to.
Forgiveness and we move forward in that. Yeah.
Right.
I think what you said is so important to remember. Listen to your body. Listen to your body. I hate when I hear someone say like, like, what is it? Pain is an excuse leaving the body or something.
Yeah, it's that
No,
Fort Minor song.
yeah,
no.
Pain,
It used to be posters all over the locker room.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I said
90%.
I said something like that to Tim, and he's like, "No, pain is your body telling you something. Pain is your body telling you something's wrong. So that listen to your body. Your body knows what you can do. God created it. God gave it the ability to do all the things you can do and will be able to do. And so when you listen to it, you're honoring God. You're listening to what He gave you.
Yeah, and then you come through a period where you're injured and you can't do those things. You can find another something else. What can I do while I'm injured? Maybe I can focus on this other piece.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Stacey, thank you for coming on the podcast and talking about this. This has been great. It's a great cap for this series as we close out. So thanks for taking the time, and hopefully the Packers they'll
be fine.
They will have played
Not
two
worried
more
about the
games
Packers.
from the time we're recording until the time this airs. So we'll see. But
they'll win them.
Yeah, we'll see. The Panthers will lose every game they play through the rest of the year, I'm sure. So thank you so
much. All right,
Stacey.
thank you.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed that conversation with Stacey. And if you're wondering, what do I take from this podcast? What's something that I can be thinking about during the week? I just want to offer this question. What is one step you can take this week to honor God through caring for your body? So that can be something like what we talked about with exercise. It can just be going out in nature. It can be maybe even like eating at a place that's local or using local eateries. Just something you can do to honor God with your body. So just something to think about for the course of this week.
We're so thankful that you have joined us today and throughout this series. And so we hope that you will subscribe, and share the podcast. And we hope to see you back the next time that we have a series for you.
See you soon.